Hello, you two pipers. I'm sorry that one cut me off right in the middle, and I don't remember exactly where I was. So this is going to be part two, and it's going to be very short, I'm sure. But it's a continuation of my memories of the friendship between Richard and I. I think I was in the middle of we had just made a couple of gallons of PJ and put it in the trunk of the car, had a few cups before we went in, so that by the time we reached the school, we were tipsy. And we went to class, and we would raise our hands and say, "Can I go to the bathroom?" And we'd go to the car, open the trunk, and take another couple of cups of PJ, walk back to class. I'm sure we stopped by the restroom because by then I'm sure we needed to go back. Richard, I don't think was, I think he felt the inebriation of the PJ a little more than the rest of us because we were sitting in class. I was cutting the class that I was supposed to be in, and I came and sat in this class because I liked this English teacher a lot better than I did whoever it was. I was supposed to be math or something, I don't know. But Richard was next to me, and he was talking a little too loud, and I'd keep going, shh, shh, hush. And there was a girl up there that he didn't particularly like. And she was giving her presentation of whatever it was, a book report, I don't know, something. And she would say something, and Richard would mock her or something, and she'd look over there. Everybody kind of looked at him, kind of, what in the world's wrong with him? He and I were the only ones that knew what was wrong with him. So the teacher, the English teacher, she liked both of us. Thank the Lord, she liked both of us. And she looked down at me and she said, "Do you know what's wrong with Richard?" And I went, "Yes, ma'am." And she said, "I think you should take him home before he gets in trouble." And I said, "Yes, ma'am." So she told the girl to go ahead and finish her report and excuse the two of us, and we walked out to the car and got in, and I said, "I'm taking you home." And he said, "Okay." Now the other guys who were with us, they had put vodka into oranges with syringes, and they were sucking on these oranges in glass while we were gone, walking down the breezeway with it in their hand. Just, and we drove off. And it's a good thing we did because these guys with the spiked oranges were called into the office. The principal didn't expel them, but he sent them home and said they could not go to the dance because they they did not. I can't remember how he put it, but he said that their behavior was such that they did not deserve to go to the dance. But he didn't say anything about the parties after the dance, which were on Folly Beach. So I pulled up into Richard's driveway, and his dad was over there laying a foundation, wet cement. He had just finished smoothing it out. It was a beautiful job of smoothing it out. And Richard got out of the car, and I got out, and Richard went over there and said, "What is this?" And he tripped and he fell face first into the wet concrete. And I said, "I'll see you." I got in my car and I drove home. I don't know if anything happened to him or not. I doubt it. But the expression on his dad's face, I knew I had to leave or I'd get blamed for that. And that night, after the dance, and we all took our respective dates home. Actually, we didn't take them home. We took them. Yeah, we did take them home, and they got transportation to the parties at Folly Beach. Somebody else was driving. There were about Richard. There were about 5 of us in this guy's car. He had an old Mercury that he had bought for like $50, and it ran on occasion. And we were tooling down the Folly Road to get to the party at one of the rented beach houses. And he was going a little too fast. We were all a little tipsy again, going a little too fast going down to Main Street. And he said, "Where's the house?" And one of the guys said, here, turn to the right." He flipped that wheel, turned on 2 wheels. And he plowed into a car. And we said, "What are you going to do?" And I said, "Well, whenever the cops come, because you're going to have to call the cops, we'll just have to tell them you missed that dog that was in the road." And one of the guys said, "What dog?" I said, "You know, that dog that he swerved to miss. That dog." He said, "Oh, that dog." Yeah, at any rate. Didn't really get in any trouble over that because I think all the kids on Folly Beach at that time all were a little tipsy because it was graduation and all this was going on. And back then they were a little easier on kids. I think nowadays they would be a little harder on, but there weren't that many of us in the graduating class, and we just had it easier, I think, because we didn't get into trouble like kids today, too. I mean, we didn't get into trouble on purpose. All our trouble was just the result of having a little too much fun. I mean, we weren't out to hurt anybody or destroy property. We were just out to enjoy ourselves. But at any rate, that's just some of the highlights of the times that Richard and I were together. A lot of years there. A lot of years. And that's what happens when you allow politics to become so serious and so overwhelming that friendships rupture. It was never like that in the past. In the past, you had your thoughts on your side of the political aisle and somebody else had their thoughts, and you could talk about it and discuss things. And today, some of those feelings solidified into a touch of hatred towards the ideals of one party's and the other party's, which is a sad shame that it would rupture a friendship that lasted so long. And then in the last few years, because only like 2 years ago that this happened, 72 years of a solid friendship broken apart in the last 2 years. If that's happened to you, try to overcome that. Don't let it end like that. Because there's no way that anything can be straightened out now. He will be missed. He had his opinions, and they were extremely strong. And he had his belief, and he stood for it with everything he had, wholeheartedly. And I wasn't as tolerant, I guess, as I should have been. I know now that he'll rest in peace. And I regret, for what little time I have left, that I allowed that to happen. Don't mean to end on a sad note, but the news took me by surprise and affected me greatly. Sorry it's in two parts, but it needed two parts. Take care of yourselves. God bless you. Till the next time. Bye-bye.